What happens when the guy fixing your brakes is scared to speak up when he's bleeding? Travis Kellan leaned back in his chair, rubbing his temples as he stared at the monthly reports. 8 auto repair shops, all scattered across the state, and only one of them kept popping up in his inbox with complaints. Location 3 in Denton. Sloppy work, rude staff. One customer said their car came back worse than it arrived, but the numbers showed something different. Steady profits, low turnover, and glowing internal reviews. He didn't trust it. He never wanted the business. His father built it from the ground up and left it to Travis after he passed unexpectedly 3 years ago. Travis had managed to grow it barely, but he knew he was slipping away from the ground floor. He hadn't stepped foot in most locations. Denton, never. The staff there wouldn't know him from a guy off the street, especially with a beard, dark-rimmed glasses, and a fake name stitched into a gray uniform. Rick. The plan was simple. Go in as a trainee mechanic. No cameras, no crew. Just him, a pair of steel-toed boots, and a clipboard. When he walked through the garage doors at 6:58 a.m., the smell of burnt oil hit him like a punch. A lanky guy with a clipboard glanced up from behind the front counter. "You the new temp?" the man asked, barely looking. "Yeah, Rick, sent from corporate," Travis replied. "Whatever, we're short anyway. I'm Dale. You'll shadow Ethan today. Don't get in the way." There was no handshake, no welcome. Just a nod toward the back where a kid barely 19 was hunched over a tire balancing machine. "This is Ethan," Dale barked. "Show him how not to screw everything up." Ethan looked up, gave a sheepish half smile, and wiped his hands on his coveralls. "Hey man, you ever done this before?" "First day," Travis said. "You?" "Been here 6 months. Still feel like I'm guessing most days." The day dragged. Travis kept his head down, rotating tires, checking fluids, refilling wiper fluid. The garage was hot, the tools were scattered, and no one seemed to talk unless they were barking orders. Ethan tried to explain things as best he could, but every time they slowed down, Dale came stomping in. "Why are you two moving like molasses? Car's still on the jack and it's been 20 minutes. Ethan flinched every time. At lunch, Ethan didn't eat. Travis noticed. "You good?" he asked, leaning against the tool chest. "Yeah, just trying to save up for a car. Mine died last month." He shrugged. "Bus takes 2 hours each way." That hit Travis harder than he expected. He looked at the kid bags under his eyes, scarred knuckles, and a torn patch on his uniform. No one should be working this hard just to stand still. Later that afternoon, while they were replacing a brake rotor on an old SUV, Ethan's wrench slipped. His hand slammed into the wheel well. "Damn!" he yelped, stumbling back. Blood started pouring from the base of his thumb. Travis stepped in. "Let me see it. You need to wrap that." But before he could grab a rag, Dale marched over. "What the hell now?" Ethan held up his hand, trying to explain. "I just cut myself. I'll clean it up." "No, you don't walk away in the middle of a job. This isn't a daycare. If you can't handle a little scrape, maybe this isn't the job for you." "He needs first aid," Travis cut in, his voice sharper than intended. Dale turned, eyes narrowing. "Who asked you?" Travis locked eyes with him. "I'm not going to let someone bleed out just because you're behind schedule." Dale scoffed. "You're just a temp. Stay in your lane." Ethan looked torn between staying and running. "Go," Travis said. "I'll finish this." Ethan hesitated, then bolted toward the break room, clutching his hand. Travis finished tightening the bolts, jaw clenched. He wasn't ready to blow his cover yet, but his patience was hanging by a thread. He cleaned up quietly and clocked out just past 6. Back in his car, he sat in silence. He thought about Ethan's busted hand, about Dale's outburst, about how the numbers on a spreadsheet could lie. He checked his notes. The Denton location had 8 full-time employees on payroll, but only 4 were working today. No call-outs, no vacations. He'd be back tomorrow. And this time, he wasn't just watching. The next morning, Travis arrived 15 minutes early, parked a block away, and walked in through the side entrance. The air was thick with heat, and the whine of an impact wrench already echoed off the garage walls. No one acknowledged him when he stepped inside. Ethan was already working, one hand wrapped in gauze, the other struggling to loosen a rusted bolt under a compact sedan. His uniform sleeve was rolled up, and the edge of a makeshift bandage peeked out from beneath it. His face was pale, jaw tight. "Don't ask," Ethan muttered as Travis crouched beside him. "I wasn't going to. But you shouldn't be lifting that." "I know." They worked in silence for a while. Travis handled most of the heavy lifting, letting Ethan guide with one hand. The kid was sharp. He remembered torque specs, sequence orders, and safety steps. Travis hadn't seen followed at all yesterday, but he winced every time he had to use his right hand. By mid-morning, the bay was backed up. 2 cars sat untouched in the driveway, and 1 customer was pacing near the front door. Travis heard a sharp voice from the front office. "Someone deal with this guy, or I swear." Dale's voice again, rising like steam off the asphalt. Travis wiped his hands and walked over. A man in his late 50s, face red and arms crossed, was glaring at the front counter. "I dropped this car off 2 days ago. You said yesterday afternoon. Now it's today. And it hasn't even moved." Dale didn't look up. "We're backed up. You'll get it when it's done." "You're kidding me." "I'm not. You want a refund? Go talk to someone who cares." The man's mouth dropped open. Travis stepped forward. "What needs to be done on the car?" Dale turned. "What are you doing?" "You said we're short. I'm helping." Dale scoffed. "You don't even know what's wrong with it." "I know enough to ask." The customer handed him the slip. "Rear suspension and brake replacement. Already approved. I work nights. I've been missing shifts waiting on this thing." Travis nodded. "We'll get it on the lift before lunch." Dale opened his mouth, but Travis didn't wait. He waved Ethan over and pointed at a cleared bay. They pulled the car in together. As they worked, Ethan kept stealing glances toward the front. "Why'd you do that?" he asked quietly. "Because it needed doing." "Dale's not going to like it." "I'm not here to make him comfortable." That earned a faint nod, but Ethan didn't say more. An hour later, they had one side of the suspension replaced when a sharp clatter came from behind them. A socket tray had hit the floor. A tall woman in a navy shirt stood over it, arms crossed. She had a company badge clipped to her collar and a clipboard in hand. "Dale said you two were behind," she said. Travis stood. "We're catching up." "You're the temp?" "Rick." "I'm Carla, regional ops." Travis kept his expression neutral. "Didn't know we had visitors today." "I drop in when I hear complaints." Ethan froze. "I assume he means customer complaints," Travis said flatly. Carla's gaze shifted to Ethan's wrapped hand. "That an accident report I should have seen?" "No report," Dale said, appearing behind her. "Just a scratch." "It needed stitches," Ethan muttered. "You didn't file it?" Carla asked. Her tone was clipped now. "He didn't ask to," Dale said. "That's not how it works," she replied. "You file every injury, period." "It was minor." "That's not your call." Carla stepped closer, her voice lower. "Give me a list of everyone on shift yesterday. I want time cards, too." "I sent them in," Dale said. "Then send them again." She turned to Travis. "You have a break in 10. Be in the office. I want to know what you've seen." Travis nodded once. In the break room, he sat across from her at the small metal table. The plastic chairs creaked under them. "You don't talk like a temp," she said. "Maybe I've worked in worse places." She studied him. "What's your take?" He hesitated. He wasn't ready to drop the act, not yet. "There's something off," he said instead. "People are scared to say anything. Tools are missing. Safety's ignored. And I haven't seen Dale touch a wrench once." Carla's mouth pulled tight. "I've had 2 formal complaints and 5 walkouts from this location in 3 months. Dale's reports say otherwise. He's not just lying. He's covering." Carla leaned back in her chair. "Can you keep your eyes open a little longer?" "I plan to." She stood. "If something happens again, I want to know the second it does." A crashing noise interrupted her. Shouting followed. They rushed into the garage. One of the younger techs, a guy named Luis, was holding his shoulder near the tire machine. A rim had slipped while he was trying to mount it. It had slammed into his collarbone. "Why didn't you use the clamp?" Ethan asked, rushing over. "It's gone," Luis hissed through clenched teeth. "I told Dale it was missing last week." Travis turned. "Where's the clamp?" Dale shrugged. "Probably got stolen. These kids don't keep track of anything." Carla stepped forward. That's a required safety tool. If it's missing, you don't operate the machine. He didn't tell me until now. I told you last week, Louise snapped. You said to make do. Carla's face hardened. You're done. Dale blinked. What? You're relieved of duty. Effective immediately. Turn in your badge. You can't. I absolutely can. Go. Dale looked between them, face flushing, then yanked off the lanyard from around his neck and tossed it on the floor. When he was gone, the garage was still for a moment. Travis looked at Luis. You need a doctor. I can finish. No, you're going. Carla nodded. I'll drive him. As she helped Luis out, Ethan exhaled slowly. Is this how it usually goes? He asked. Not if I can help it. The rest of the day ran quieter. The tension hadn't vanished, but it had shifted. Without Dale barking, things moved smoother. People spoke more. One of the older techs, Marcus, took the lead on a transmission job without being told. A customer came in with a flat, and instead of waiting, two of the guys jumped in to patch it right away. At closing, Travis sat on the step outside, watching the sun dip behind the row of old buildings across the street. Ethan joined him, holding a cup of instant coffee. You're not just a temp, Ethan said finally. Travis didn't answer. You knew where everything was. You didn't ask the usual questions, and no temp would talk to a regional manager like that unless they had backup. Travis looked over. Keep it quiet. Ethan nodded. You're the owner, aren't you? I'm trying to be better at it. Ethan sipped his coffee. You've got a long way to go. I know. He paused. But thanks for stepping in. No one ever has before. Travis didn't say anything. He didn't need to. The following morning was different. Not quieter, just different. When Travis stepped through the garage door at 6:45, the hum of machinery and clatter of tools hadn't started yet. Light flickered through the high windows, catching dust in the air. A few techs were already inside, early and seated on overturned buckets or leaning against tool racks. They were talking not in whispers, but with a kind of cautious openness that hadn't existed before. No one asked where Dale was. Travis walked past them, straight to the back corner where Ethan stood near a clipboard mounted on the wall. His bandaged hand was steadier today, but still far from healed. He was staring at the job queue, eyes scanning the list of vehicles with quiet frustration. Anything urgent? Travis asked. Ethan looked up. 3 diagnostics, 2 oil changes, and a brake inspection that's already overdue. Should have been done yesterday. How many do we have on the floor? Same 4, no subs, no floaters. Travis nodded, then stepped over to the workbench and unrolled a mat of tools. Before they could get started, a door creaked open on the far side of the garage. A woman walked in mid-40s, pressed polo, hair tied back. She carried a notepad and wore a name badge clipped to her waistband. Morning, she said, resting a hand on her hip. I'm Nora. Corporate sent me to oversee the transition. Ethan glanced at Travis. Nora caught it. I'm not replacing Dale. I'm here to make sure this location doesn't collapse while we figure things out. Travis gave a slight nod and offered his hand. Rick. She shook it, firm grip. You've been here a few days? Getting my hands dirty. Good. We need that. You know how many reports this shop's missed in the last quarter? I have a guess. Well, guess again. 19. And that's just the ones we caught. She turned to the others. We're not here to babysit. We're here to fix what's broken. Start with that list. Without another word, Nora walked into the tiny front office and shut the door. Ethan took a breath. She's not messing around. Neither are we. They got to work. By 9:30, the garage was already running behind. Luis hadn't come. And his shoulder was worse than anyone expected, and without Dale to bark schedules, jobs were stacking up. Marcus was doing double duty between diagnostics and inspections, and the 4th tech, a quiet guy named Javi, was struggling with an unfamiliar lift system and refused to ask for help. Travis stayed close to Ethan, but not to hover, more to learn. Ethan had a specific way of moving, checking, double-checking, and explaining out loud when he wasn't even sure someone was listening. Travis noticed how he always set tools back in the same place, how he adjusted equipment before using it, even when in a rush. Nothing flashy, just careful. Do you always work like this? Travis asked, tightening a drain plug with a torque wrench. Only way I know how. You ever think about lead tech? Ethan laughed once, bitter. Here? No chance. Why not? He didn't answer, just moved to the next task. Before noon, trouble came through the front door. A tall man in a sleeveless denim vest and wraparound sunglasses shoved it open with one hand and walked straight toward the counter. His other hand clutched a receipt. "Where's the guy in charge?" he demanded, voice loud enough to carry through the garage. Nora stepped out of the office. "Can I help you? You guys rotated my tires last week. Now my front left wobbles like it's ready to fall off. I want it checked, and I'm not paying a damn dime." "We'll take a look," she said calmly. "Do you have the work order?" "Right here." Travis stepped up behind her. "I'll handle it." The man eyed him. "You the manager?" "I'm the one who'll fix your car." That was enough. The man tossed the keys onto the counter and stomped back outside. Ethan followed Travis to the parking lot. The vehicle was a decade-old pickup with mismatched tires and a cracked windshield. Travis keyed in the VIN and pulled it into the bay. They lifted it, and within 2 minutes, Ethan found the issue. 2 lug nuts are cross-threaded. One's almost stripped. "That's not a wobble," Travis said. "That's a lawsuit waiting to happen." They replaced the studs, torqued everything properly, and inspected all 4 tires. By the time they brought it back down, the man was pacing again. Travis handed him a printed report. "Whoever did the rotation didn't torque the nuts evenly. It's fixed now." "No charge." The man narrowed his eyes. "You trying to say your guy screwed up?" "I'm saying it wasn't done right, and it won't happen again." The man looked between him and Ethan, then grunted. "About damn time someone here knew what they were doing." He left without another word. Ethan tossed his gloves onto the bench. "That was mine. I did that rotation." Travis didn't speak. "I thought I double-checked everything. I must have missed one." "Do you want a lecture?" Ethan shook his head. "You're not getting one. You owned it. That counts." He looked up. "I don't want to cost anyone their life." "Then you'll never make that mistake again." They got back to work. Later that afternoon, during a lull, one of the younger staff, Devin, walked in from the parking lot holding a clipboard. His shirt was untucked, and he looked nervous. "You got a second?" he asked Travis. "Sure." Devin glanced around. "It's about pay. We're supposed to get time and a half for Saturdays, right?" "That's the policy." "I haven't seen it. Not once. My check's always flat rate." Travis frowned. "You bring it up?" "Yeah. Dale said it only kicks in after 30 hours, but I'm full-time. I logged 39 last week." Travis took the clipboard. "You have your timesheets?" "Printed them yesterday, just in case." Travis scanned the sheet. The hours were clear. Devin had worked 5 days, including an 8-hour Saturday shift. No overtime reflected. "Anyone else mention this?" Travis asked. "Not out loud, but we talk." Travis nodded once. "Thank you for bringing it to me." Devin looked surprised. "That's it? For now?" Travis walked into the office and closed the door behind him. Nora looked up from her laptop. "Something wrong?" "Wage theft." Her face hardened immediately. "Show me." He handed her the timesheet. "This isn't an isolated case. I want payroll audited going back 6 months." She didn't hesitate. "Agreed. I'll get corporate HR on the line." Travis stood in the doorway for a moment, watching the garage. "Ethan should be lead tech," he said. "Is that your call to make?" "It is." "You ready to pull the mask off?" He didn't answer, just opened the door and walked out. At closing, the team gathered near the lockers. The air was thick with fatigue, real, earned, and quiet. Grease stained every uniform. No one looked rushed, just tired. Travis stepped forward. "I've got something to say." The noise quieted. "My name's not Rick. It's Travis Kellan. I own this company." Silence. Ethan's hand dropped to his side. Devin blinked twice. Marcus shook his head once, like he'd already guessed. "I came here because I stopped trusting the reports I was getting," Travis continued. "I wanted to see what was really happening, and now I have." He looked around the room. "This shop's been surviving in spite of its leadership, not because of it. That ends today." No one spoke. "You've been underpaid, undervalued, ignored. That's over. Anyone who's got a concern, you bring it to me or Nora. No filters, no gatekeepers." He turned slightly. "Ethan, your lead tech effective immediately. You've earned it." Ethan didn't move. "You serious?" he asked. "As serious as I've ever been." "Then I'll take it. But only if things actually change." "They already have." Travis stepped back. "Tomorrow, we start rebuilding. Not just this location, all of them. But this one first. You've been carrying more than your share. I'm here to fix that." One by one, the crew started to nod. It wasn't applause, wasn't cheering, just the beginning of belief. And that, Travis thought, was more than enough. The next 2 weeks were quiet in the way that meant real work was happening. Travis didn't leave Denton. He showed up early each morning, changed into a clean uniform like everyone else, and worked the line. Not every customer left, happy some cars were too far gone. Some jobs took longer than expected. But the tone in the shop had shifted. Orders were clear, tools were returned where they belonged, and no one flinched when someone spoke up. They weren't fixed, but they were trying. Payroll corrections started rolling out by the end of the first week. Nora confirmed that back pay would be issued for all missed overtime and weekend differentials. Devin had been right, and 5 others had similar discrepancies. When checks were cut, Travis handed them out himself. No speeches. Just eye contact and a quiet, "This should have never happened." He didn't expect thanks. He didn't get much either. That was fine. He wasn't doing it for gratitude. The real test came on a Thursday. Ethan was reviewing a service ticket near the parts shelf when Javi approached him, jaw tight, holding a broken caliper bracket in his hand. "I don't know how this got through inspection," he said. "It's cracked all the way through. This should have been flagged." Ethan took the piece, turned it over, and nodded. "This came from that Civic we just cleared." "Yeah. I'll call the customer back in." "You sure?" Ethan looked up. "I'm not sending someone down the road with a part I wouldn't trust on my own car." Javi hesitated. "I thought maybe you'd want to run it past Travis first. He doesn't need to sign off on doing the right thing." The next hour was a scramble. The customer had already left, but lived nearby. Ethan made the call, explained the issue, and offered to have it replaced at no charge. The man returned within 30 minutes. He didn't yell, he didn't threaten. He just asked if the car would be safe when it left the second time. Ethan looked him in the eye and said yes. Travis watched all of it from the back bench, saying nothing. He didn't need to. Later that evening, he joined Nora in the office, where she was reviewing a stack of printed feedback forms. For the first time, customers were filling them out voluntarily. Most were short, some were blunt. A few were handwritten with grease-streaked fingerprints, but one, folded neatly in the middle of the stack, stood out. It read, "The young guy with the bandaged hand took the time to explain everything. I didn't feel like I was being rushed or upsold for once. I left feeling like I wasn't just a number. Don't lose him." Travis folded it and slid it into his pocket. He didn't say why. By the third week, the gaps in staffing were still a problem. 4 techs couldn't cover a 6-bay shop at full capacity. They needed at least 2 more, especially with the uptick in returning customers who'd once sworn off the place entirely. But Travis wouldn't bring in just anyone. He reviewed every application himself, not for degrees or hours logged, but for how people talked about their work. He called references. He asked about reliability, not just skill. One afternoon, he brought in a woman named Tessa for a working interview. 10 years of experience, calm demeanor. She showed up 10 minutes early, asked to use her own tools, and didn't flinch when the compressor unexpectedly backfired in Bay 3. She finished a belt replacement in under an hour and then asked who she should talk to about inventory discrepancies. Ethan pulled Travis aside. "She's sharp. She's hired." By the end of that week, she was on the clock full time. The dynamic shifted again, not dramatically, but noticeably. She didn't talk much, but she was fast, efficient, and never cut corners. Within days, Javi started asking her for tips on timing belt jobs. Marcus, who'd once kept to himself, started staying later just to finish jobs with her. The team was becoming a team. One night, as everyone packed up, Travis called Ethan into the office. "Close the door." Ethan sat, wiping his hands on a rag. "Something wrong?" "No, but I need your input." Travis turned his monitor toward him. On the screen was a detailed layout of the shop current workflow, average job times, downtime between cars, and equipment usage. I've been tracking how long each job takes, how often lifts sit unused, how often tools go missing. There's a pattern. Ethan leaned in. You already know what it is. I want to hear it from you. Ethan studied the chart. We lose time chasing parts. The inventory's a mess. Half the bins are mislabeled. And sometimes we're short the basics: copper washers, brake grease, even shop towels. I've got a proposal to bring in a dedicated parts coordinator, someone who keeps this place stocked, logs everything, and handles returns. Ethan raised an eyebrow. A desk job. You'll get pushback. I know, but it'll save you 10 hours a week. Ethan leaned back. Do it. Just make sure they know they're a part of the team, not just someone sitting behind a screen. They will. Outside the office, the shop lights flickered off one by one. Travis stood at the doorway, watching as the crew filtered out. No one rushed. No one shouted. Tessa locked up the tool chest. Marcus tapped out his time card. Devin double-checked the parking lot for loose debris. It was a small thing, but it mattered. That weekend, Travis met with the other location managers in person, not over Zoom, not through emails. He drove to each one, sat down face to face, and walked them through what happened in Denton. He didn't sugarcoat it. He laid out the injury, the retaliation, the missing pay, the manipulation of reports. Then he laid out the changes: direct reporting access to HR, anonymous feedback systems, quarterly safety audits. Every lead tech would be retrained. Every manager would undergo ethics and compliance certification, no exceptions. One manager, Greg, from the Tyler location, rolled his eyes halfway through. I've worked this job 20 years. We don't need hand-holding. Travis didn't blink. You're right, we don't. Greg looked smug until Travis added, we need leadership. If you can't provide it, I'll find someone who can. Greg didn't speak again. The message was clear. The culture had to change, or the people would. Back in Denton, Travis arrived late Monday morning. For once, he didn't come in through the side. He walked straight through the front door, in jeans and a clean polo, no name patch, no coveralls. The front counter had been cleared of clutter. A new sign and tablet had replaced the handwritten log. The floor mats were swept. The air didn't smell like burnt oil anymore, just rubber and faint citrus from the new cleaner Nora had insisted on using. Morning, Ethan said, glancing up from the clipboard. You've got it under control. We're getting there. Travis nodded once. I'm heading back to the city this afternoon. I'll check in every week. Ethan looked at him, not with hesitation, but with something more grounded. You trust us? I do. And if it slips again, you call me. Ethan extended his hand. Thanks for not just talking about fixing it. Travis shook it. Thanks for showing me how broken it was. He stepped outside, the sun high overhead. The parking lot was full, 4 cars in queue, a woman reading a book in the waiting area, a kid eating from a fast food bag near the vending machine. Normal, alive. As he reached his car, he paused, pulling the folded feedback note from his pocket. He read it once more, then tucked it into the glove compartment. He didn't need reminders. He'd been there. He'd seen it. And it would never go back to the way it was.